I remain astounded by the fact that in his very first adventure, Tom Baker's Fourth Doctor went up against a robot called K1 and then later acquired a robot companion named K9, and there is never any connection drawn between the two. That boggles my mind. Classic Doctor Who review time. The Invisible Enemy. I didn't know what to expect of this one. I knew almost nothing about it. This is not an episode I ever hear anybody talk about or bring up. I think the only thing I ever heard about it, and I'd forgotten, honestly, before sitting down to watch it again, is the fact that this is the very first story with K9. It's his introduction into Who. That's about the only thing I knew. This thing. First of all, title's a complete misnomer. The enemies are very visible. I get what they're going for. Like, this is ultimately kind of a mashup of Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Fantastic Voyage. But the main antagonistic force are these humans who have been infected by what is, for all intents and purposes, a conscious virus. And the thing is, I mentioned Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but it is missing one of the core elements of that, which is just people being only slightly off. Instead, these people have, they've got a scaly growth on their face and their eyebrows go absurd. They become huge and gray and bushy. It's like Invasion of the Eyebrows more than anything else. I still found myself thinking of Invasion of the Body Snatchers anyway, because there's a few points where there's this sort of thin, filmy, almost kind of webby kind of material that definitely did remind me of a few things from the 70s version, I should be clear, of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But anyways, this is the Doctor and Leela. Now, I like Leela a lot. Every time I've seen her in something, I've liked her. It's like some stories she is exceptionally good, but she's never been bad. She's still good in this. The Doctor's relationship with her feels off, though. He is oddly just mansplaining to her, kind of stepping over her. They have this, I don't think it's a running gag, but I swear I've seen it happen before, where the Doctor does a thing that she suggested, but then says it was his idea. I think it's meant to be funny. Unfortunately, the way that it maps on to, the actual world where women are frequently stepped over and have their ideas stepped on, and then men claim credit for them, it doesn't strike me as funny. But it didn't fully strike me as odd until I checked where this fell in the timeline, and this is set after Horror on Fang Rock. It doesn't feel like the Doctor should still be treating her this way. At least in my mind, it doesn't feel like he should. But Leela herself is still good, still her kick-ass combat rolling self. She's great. She's great. I love her. So I started laughing at the very beginning. This is such a janky episode. Like, the effects, while maybe not necessarily as persistent as what I'm going to compare it to, but they are about on par with the effects in Invasion of the Dinosaurs. It's real bad. And in a way that kind of works. Like, here was an odd thing that I realized. When it comes to Doctor Who jank, for me at least, it is easier to accept wobbly effects and really cheap looking monsters and all this other stuff if it is persistent across the whole story. Because then I'm like, oh, that's just what this story is. Like, Invasion of the Dinosaurs was fun. I'm not sure I'd call it good, but it was fun. And I kind of had a similar experience with this. By comparison, when janky effects show up in a story where they're only like peeking their head in once or twice, that can pull me out of it. And I think that is why I can just kind of laugh and roll with some of the effects, and I'll go into detail. Some of the effects in this, but I find myself really struggling with the giant clams in Genesis of the Daleks. Because it's not that Doctor Who can't be that janky. It's that that specific story wasn't being that kind of janky. And then those things just show up and it's like, what are we doing? Whereas if it's pretty much across the board, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll just calibrate to this is what this story is. And this thing lets you know immediately. There's this, like, it's like the first or second shot of the whole thing. There's this asteroid field and there's this ship. There's a ship navigating through it. And it's just this wobbly little... It's just so bad. It's so bad. It was like season 1 Red Dwarf, but Red Dwarf was meant to be a comedy. Like, it's not good. It's not. No, honestly, it's actually that was shortchanging the Red Dwarf effects team. Red Dwarf season 1 was more convincing than this, and it's not just the spaceship stuff. Like there are these hard cuts. Like to an effect where the effect just pops in and they try and cover for it, but they can't. The gunplay, like Doctor Who has always had janky gunplay. Generally, it works best when you're not getting a ton of long shots where it's very clear that both the people firing and the people being hit are just miming and pretending. And then an effects person had to go in and try and figure out, okay, well, if you fired, then that should hit that person, but the timing doesn't line up, so maybe I do this. Maybe, do I do it as a beam, or do I do... effects people just had to do the best that they could. And it always works better when, you get more close in shot. I mean, that's part of why the Dalek stuff always worked. Like, their classic trick was to zoom in on the ray gun as it just did a thing, and then cut to a person dying. That was always more impactful. Whereas here, we just get this little... sort of diamond, this red diamond effect that just, it fires from the guns sometimes, but also that's the impact. But like, clearly there is nothing is set up to be impacted, and there's no squibs, there's no spark packs. It's just people like, it's so bad. It's so bad. And I mentioned Fantastic Voyage. So there's a bit later on where the Doctor and Leela, or more accurately, they're clones, except more accurately, they're clones that are only going to exist for 10 minutes, except the 10 minutes lasts basically almost the entirety of the 25-minute episode they appear in. Wibbly wobbly. But they're inside they've been miniaturized, and they're inside the Doctor. And at one point they try and do like the white blood cell, like internal self-defense thing. And it's just these white balloons kind of like bouncing off of Leela as she has to scream and act like she's being threatened by these things. And like, a white balloon can be scary. I saw The Prisoner. That thing was terrifying. But this is not it. And the effects are just across the board. Oh, and okay, so the Doctor also gets possessed by this. He specifically gets possessed by the nucleus, which is like the center of the swarm that's like orchestrating all this stuff. And so that's what they find in his head. But it gets out, and it gets made to our scale, and it just looks like a shrimp. It's just this big. I say big, like, I don't know, 5 foot tall, janky, wiry shrimp. And you see its servants like helping it down the corridor, and it's probably supposed to be like, he's not used to being this big, but it really does look like he can't move in that. Just carry him. Just carry him. It's so bad. It's so bad. But again, the thing is that it's across the board. It just is what this episode is. 100% start to finish. It is really janky. And I'm not going to say the ideas in it couldn't have been done more seriously, but you can't take them seriously because it's like, look at them. Look at these possessed people with these giant ass eyebrows and this shrimp looking thing and the little red diamond from the guns. It's as some of the actors like do this to signify that they're firing and others don't. It's real bad. Like at the core execution level, it's real bad. That having been said, in terms of like budgeting for the season, I'm not sure this was a story that was worthy of the budget it would have taken to make it look good. And so it just doesn't. Oh, there's also a font that it is the most 70s looking font for like all the signs on the walls. And like a bunch of stuff's misspelled. It's like spelled phonetically. So like I think the exit, if I remember correctly, it's EC SIT exit. It's just, I think they knew. And honestly, I think it was a good story to introduce K9 in. Because like I don't want to act like K9 can't work in a more serious story, but that's really only going to happen once he's been integrated into the group a bit more. And you're used to him being there. Because otherwise, like, trying to introduce the Tin Dog in an otherwise serious and well-executed story, it could be a mood clash. Instead, he fits right in. Like, right off the bat, is like, oh yeah, of course there's a little rolling dog. Of course it shoots a laser out of its nose. Why wouldn't there be that? Naturally. So as an intro story for K9, it works pretty well because he fits the tone of everything else going on. I kind of like the professor who made K9. He's got this very put on kind of German accent, but I kind of like him. There isn't a lot of personality among the rest of the cast. That seems to be by design. Most of them are either fodder or they're possessed, in which case they just don't have a lot of personality. Though apparently John Leeson, who's the voice of K9, also voiced the Nucleus, the shrimp thing. Oh, jeez. I know I've just been laughing through a lot of this, but this one, I think this is easily the jankiest that I can think of from the Baker era. I mean, it's like maybe this and Power of Kroll, but I prefer this to Power of Kroll by a lot. I think Power of Kroll did still try and have more serious moments in it, even though it looked as not good as it did. Whereas here, like, I feel like everybody knew. I feel like the actors knew. I feel like the props and costumes and the effects department knew. I feel like everybody just knew. Like, this is a silly one. Don't worry too much about it. So, yeah, it's not good, but it works. It works for consistency. I mean, like, Doctor Who is not consistent episode to episode, but especially in Classic, if you can get an episode that's at least consistent within itself, you're probably going to do okay if you can get on its wavelength. And I did, or at least I got into a wavelength where I could enjoy it. I don't know if this is something that is intended to be enjoyed by laughing at it, but I did, and I had a good time. The Invisible Enemy. Have you seen this one? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills, enables me to do this as my living, even if you can't help me out that way. Like, share, subscribe. You know, all the usual YouTube stuff. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. And now it's time to thank my highest supporting patrons. Robin Moore, Quite Bearish, Zubin Lutfula, Auntie Kate 808, Mira G, Angry Casper, Dave Hall, Andre, Movie Turtle, Oliver B, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Mary Mello, Iron, Becky Sparks, Loki Eris, Tracy Scrabbit, and Sir Didymus is my favorite. We have a new little guy here under my hair. That's Satyr. So yes, he can now join in the distraction chorus as I try to read names. Thanks, guys. Welcome to the family.